Hey, welcome back. It's a terrific Tuesday, and what we try to do on this show all the time is bring you people that can really help you, educate yourself, make yourself more aware of opportunities out there. And we started the day today talking about entrepreneurs and the mistakes they make. And if you get past the high rate of failure as an entrepreneur, the next thing is actually now knowing how to run and maintain this business and grow it at the same time, without getting yourself in a hoot of trouble with the Equal Employment Opportunity Bureau and the Workmen's Compensation Bureau and the sexual harassment and all these things, all this work that you put in to start your little business and get it going. Now when you start hiring people, if you don't pay attention to the small stuff, you're done. And nobody knows better about this than Jonathan Bell. Thanks for joining us again on Liquid Lunch. Appreciate it.
Sure.
And so, Jonathan, you know, this morning, Ethan, what was his name? Slotkin came on the show, and he kind of coaches companies through their, infancy stage. Sure. You know, look out for these things, right? Right. And you're in the trenches every day. People are coming to you, in some cases, I guess, to make them a little more aware of what they should be doing proactively, but most people are lazy and they come to you when they have a problem, I would say, right? So whether it's an employee who feels they got treated badly or it's an employer who's under attack, you basically have seen it all, I would say.
I have seen it all. I don't know if people come to me when they're necessarily lazy. That might be your...
Well, I'm saying, as an entrepreneur, I know sometimes you overlook like little things like making everybody watch a 3-minute video on equality or whatever it may be.
Everybody has to know about the sexual harassment training. Okay, that's due October 9th. All employers, employees, independent contractors, doesn't matter even of your employment status. You could be an illegal alien working for somebody as a domestic worker. They have to undergo this training. It's a 45-minute training. Wait a minute. 45-minute training. Hold on. Has to be interactive. On my Facebook page, I have a link for free training.
Free
so
training.
You don't have to pay for it.
Ha!
The only thing you're out is the 45 minutes for the Bell Law Group. I love it.
Yeah, let's ring the bell for the Bell Law Group.
Right.
Go get that free video. You don't have to pay anything. You just got to pay 45 minutes of you and your employees' time.
What's the link? What's the link?
And your employee.
Where do they get it?
It's a NewYorkCity.gov, one of those links there.
No, but what's your website where they can click
So
the
when
link?
you go on Facebook, do @Bell Law Group, it'll take you right to that page.
Jonathan, remind me why we have to do this. Who's mandating this exactly?
This is coming down from the state and the city of New York.
All right,
this is not federal.
This is the Harvey Weinstein
let me tell you
law.
something.
If
you don't do it, there's no penalty. There's no penalty yet. But I can tell you that if someone contacts me as a sexual harassment attorney, and I start suing the defendant, and the defendant does not have this training, I can only pray that this happens to me.
Right. So,
so for viewers watching outside of New York, you don't have to worry about this.
Correct.
Right.
yeah, but if something's happening in Progressiveville, NYC, I can assure you it's coming to a theater near you in every major city where some liberal is running or progressive is running the government. And I can assure you, if that's true, if the Democratic machine has been in charge of that city for all this time, then you're probably in the Orkin top 20 of most rat-infested cities also, because most of those
let me just chime in here, okay?
Yep.
Let's say they undergo the training. You're missing out on 45 minutes of their work. If they're hourly, if they're exempt and they're on salary, they could do it on their own time, big deal. But what if it stops somebody from suing? What if they learn the law and they realize, okay, I didn't know I'm not allowed to do that.
Well, that's a good point.
And now all of a sudden, there's no liability and you don't have to pay me $1 million plus. John, did you have your training yet?
I did not have my training.
Frank, you have your
We're
training?
going to have our
haven't.
training very shortly, but we don't have.
But I
how
did
many
this last
employees?
year.
How many employees do you have to have?
One
employee.
or more.
So Nico, where's Nico? Where's our associate producer Nico? He's going to watch that for you. You're going to watch that sexual harassment tape today, okay?
Right.
There's
Go to my Facebook page. It's right
No,
on there.
but all seriousness, okay?
Yeah.
You're a very talented lawyer, and I love when you come on because you put it in perspective that regular people can understand. But the truth of the matter is, as a lawyer, you're telling businesses out there, hey, just to be smart, send this link to every single one of your employees and tell them it's mandatory that they must watch. Correct. And then send me an email as the boss saying, I completed the 45-minute video, right? So right there, they have warded off your first line of defense. When the person comes to you and says, you know, I work for XYZ Corp, and I feel like this guy said something suggestive, and she says, and the first thing you're going to say is, they're in New York. Oh, did they ever send you this video to tell you to watch it? Oh, yeah, they did. They sent it to everybody.
Right.
Then it's like, darn it, for you. Now you got to find the next one.
No, well, there's a couple things with that. Number one, when you're done with the training, you get a certificate. The employer should keep the certificate, okay?
Got it.
Now that is
Hang yours up, John, back there.
that is a good.
I'm going to put it on the wall with like an A rating, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then my employees
Put it
can
on the
change-
window facing out.
Right. CC can,
it's a good defense.
change it as we go along.
If you have the certification, it's a good defense, but it doesn't end the case. You know that someone could still sexually harass somebody even after getting the training. So it doesn't say, okay, bail technically goes away, but you don't want to make it go away? Don't sexually harass somebody. That will make me go away.
I mean, that, and again, for our audience watching at home, we're talking about simple suggestions to keep your business fit and healthy and moving in the right direction.
That's
And no one here is suggesting that we have any staff, nor do we have any staff that's being sexually harassed.
Correct.
But
I don't know. Some conversations have been had with me that I deem a little inappropriate. But
is there an increase in your from employees that come to you? Do guys ever come to you and say, I've been harassed by a woman or or someone with a different pronoun?
Once in a while it happened. I could tell you that it's definitely the minority, but we've had a case against the federal government that settled for a lot of money where a female
How much
supervisor.
money?
I can't. It's confidential.
Not disclosed.
But it's enough that would make your eyebrows go up, and it's federal government too. So
don't put that money in Overstock. That's my opinion.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Jonathan, real quick, I want to get your take on these workplace English-only rules. Now, I only speak English, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having a workplace where there's an English-only rule. Is there something wrong with that?
The answer is there is. If you have an
Of course there is. I
If
should
you
have
have an
known better.
English-only policy, you better have a legitimate, non-discriminatory reason for having one, such as in an emergency situation, that English only has to be limited to a certain time and place and people, because everyone speaks English who's working in most environments, and they'll understand the emergency situation if there's an announcement. However, you can't stop two employees who speak Spanish from speaking Spanish. You're going to get hit with a lawsuit. So it's a tightrope, and if you are going to do something, you better be very, very careful and have a lawyer look at it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Based on before, you said, well, if there's one way you want to avoid, getting accused of sexual harassment is don't sexually harass people, right?
Yeah.
That's one mitigating
That's a pretty good
circumstance,
line.
right? So what about if you mitigated this issue by saying, don't hire anyone that doesn't speak English?
Right.
Does that sound good?
That sounds terrible.
That sounds terrible. No, I'm just saying, in America, the expectation is they can at least speak good enough English to understand emergency situations. Fire!
Right.
Run!
Right.
Emergency!
If you're qualified for the position and you're most qualified, regardless of where you're from, what language you speak, if you're required to speak English, but you happen to speak another language, you can't not hire somebody because they happen to be born somewhere else.
Where can I move to? Are there any places where that you don't you can actually still speak English? What about England? Do they speak English? No.
How is it you want to move it? Look what a great country we have.
Jonathan,
Look what a great we all have.
London, England is overrun with Muslim people now. You probably got to speak Muslim to work in England at this point.
You call an attorney who knows what they're doing. They'll
Jonathan,
walk you through it, and you'll be very happy. You'll have no issues.
I'm not
So
worried.
we cannot. I'm just asking because I'm hoping that we have an unbelievable team here.
And you do.
I'm hoping that, we're growing, right?
Sure.
So we can't.
And the percentage of them that have been sexually harassed, it's like 10% or
Yeah,
less.
it's low.
Yeah.
And right now, everyone speaks predominantly English, okay, which is a good start.
I can't
But
understand
you're
a word
saying
when they're speaking in my
as
earpiece. That's not English.
Forward, I cannot set policy that says that we want to only hire English-speaking folks.
You definitely do not want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
Yes, I wanted to do that.
It's not even questionable.
But it's an English-speaking television
How
show.
about this,
Our advertisers
look,
would probably go
I'm booking
crazy.
all Spanish-speaking
Imagine
guests
if Frank
tomorrow.
started speaking Yiddish right now.
Yeah.
What good is that going to do for my TV show?
Look
Oi.
for the most qualified candidate for the position and hire that
Regardless
person,
of what
regardless of
language
where they're
they
from
speak.
and what Obviously,
Okay,
in a
fair
television show like this, you have to speak English and you have to be speaking English well. but you can't disclude somebody who happens to speak another language simply because they do.
So this is the point in the show where I need a drink. Because
you know.
when Jonathan
I'll take
Bell
an arsenic
comes on,
and soda.
when Jonathan Bell comes on, he brings us the real deal, and it really hits home. But what we've learned today, folks, is if you have illegal immigrants working for you who have no social security numbers, they don't pay taxes or anything like that.
They don't have to speak English,
They don't
but they've
have
got to
speak
undergo
English,
the sexual
but
harassment
They have to
training.
watch
In
a
Spanish.
sexual harassment
In
video
Spanish.
in Spanish. And then on top of that, if you're running a little small mom and pop business there,
I give up.
in a place that, you know, the majority of the people speak predominantly English, you can't not hire someone for not speaking English. Is that right?
You got it.
We can't.
I'm glad that you learned it.
This
But
guy,
that's the
you know,
rule.
he's
You're halfway there to your training.
that's what we're doing.
See,
Okay.
Johns, I am not worried about sexually harassing someone. I'm worried about someone thinking that they're being sexually harassed.
Because they don't understand the language.
Yeah,
Or what if I say, you know, what if I speak Spanish? What if I say to someone that doesn't speak Spanish, yo quiero Taco Bell? Like they could think that I made a sexual advance at them because they don't understand the language.
I think you're
it's not
taking it
just
to an extreme.
allegation. You have to prove, you have no idea how many people call.
To
We
Estas
probably-
Calor?
We probably turn away 90% of cases because they don't have a case. You can't stop someone from making the call, but a lawyer who knows what they're doing, they're only going to take a case that has merit. Not all lawyers, but at least a law firm like mine, only meritorious cases.
Got it.
Only
Well,
Bell Law
look,
Group.
That's why we bring on Jonathan Bell. I give him a hard time to have some fun because he's a great
100%.
guy, and we want to make television great again for you, and not only educate you but entertain you. And you're a great sport, bro. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me on.
And you go to Bell Law Group and check out that 45-minute video. Make your employees do it too. We're going to watch it on this commercial break, and then I'm going to just send everyone certificates. You stay right there. We'll be back after this.